Ask the experts if you're making a decision. Find people who know more about something than you do. Do not get confused that they are making the decision, though. Sometimes they get confused that they're making the decision. If you're a business person, you should never say, I'm doing this because my accountant told me to. Your accountant works for you. You should understand it, and you say, the accountant taught me this, so this makes sense, and that's why I'm doing this. But you don't work for your accountant. The lawyer or the legal department said we had to do this. The HR department said we had to do this. No, we don't. They work for me. I don't work for them. They can come in and teach us what's going on, but we're going to make the decision based on the information we gather from the expert. Don't acquiesce the decision-making rights, but gather information from people about subjects you don't know. And that's a wonderful way to do it. Get lots of information. And so what you're looking for with professionals is not someone who is arrogant. You're looking for someone that has the heart of a teacher. That's going to teach you about what's going on with this. I've got an amazing amount of money spent on estate planning, and it's unbelievably complicated. But he doesn't tell us what we're going to do. We tell him what we're going to do, and then he figures out a way that we get to do it. And what's a mechanism? What's a process we can use to get to that? An expert, by the way, is someone who has actually done the thing or has super specialized information in a certain area, not just someone that has an opinion. Now, some of you are in here, you're in the business, you're in a consulting role, you're consultants. And in many industries, there are wonderful consultants that are excellent at what they do. And in a lot of industries, consultant simply means I'm unemployed. And now I'm a damn expert. Drive me nuts. Radio consultants are the world's worst. They're guys that want to make it on the air, never did, so they tell everybody what the on-air talent should be doing. And they've never gotten a rating point in their life, but they're a radio consultant. Shoot me. So, again, there's valid consultants, and I laughed with a guy here the other night. He goes, I know how you feel about consultants. I don't hate all consultants. That's not the point. But if you're going to deal with a consultant, make sure they actually know something. A marketing consultant is someone who's actually done some marketing, not read a book once and then bought business cards. So, digital consulting is a big deal. I mean, it's a problem. In the creative world, it can be a real problem. And so just make real sure that these consultants are people that have actual hands-on experience and they actually do know more than you know, because it's not always the case. But try to get those in your corner, the good ones, and try to get people in your corner that are pouring into you and not just has an opinion. In the multitude of counsel, there's safety. Scripture says that. So get counsel, get experts around you, get people around you. We'll talk it through. We're going to get lots of opinions. And again, in no case am I handing off my right to make the decision or my responsibility to make the decision, but I'm gathering info and input. And I know that I don't have all the answers just within myself. And so I want to gather all this stuff up, put it all out on the table. And the weird thing is the decision will just stick its head up and tell you what to do. It'll just be right there and you'll see it. If you gather information, you get the experts, you get other people involved, you work it through in the multitude of counsel, and that includes your spouse. Ask your spouse about major decisions. I've talked about that quite a bit this week, from spousal interviews to the Sharon Fund, our retained earnings account. In the who can find a virtuous wife, for her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, and he will have no lack of gain. Talk to your spouse about it. Now, that's different than just dumping and whining on your spouse. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about they are one of your counselors on this issue, and they understand in this discussion, in this particular conversation, what we're doing here is we're looking at a very big decision, and the two of us need to look at this together because it's going to affect our marriage, our family for a long time. This is a big deal. What do you think? What do you feel? And this is not just, some little drive-by thing. It's you frame the conversation in such a way that your participation in this decision with your spouse your spouse's participation is vital. because I want no lack of gain. I like that principle. It tells me what's going to happen, right? I'm going to get no lack of gain if I do this. So I want to frame it up in such a way that I end up with that benefit. Gather options, and more options. The more options you have, the better decision you're going to make. One of the most frustrating radio calls I get is people who have fatalistically painted themselves into a corner, and they have two stupid options, and they want me to pick the one they like. Dave, we are in a house that has mold all in the house, and our children are going to die if we stay in the house. But there's no rental properties in the entire area that aren't 75% of our income. So do we take a rental property with a payment of $2,000 when we make $3,000 a month? It means we're going to go bankrupt. Or do we stay in the house and kill our children? Which one should we do, Dave? I'm like, both are bad ideas. You don't have enough options. You act like there's two potential places in the entire universe you could live in with your family. You could leave that town. You could move to the country. You could move into an apartment. You could buy a pop-up tent camper that doesn't have mold. You could do a lot of stuff that you've not put on the table as a discussion. But, it's like, okay, I have to choose between the death of my children and my bankruptcy. Which should I choose? Because this is all there is. It's all there is. It's all there is. And that's just complete horse crap. It's just not true. You need to gather more options. So anytime you feel like you're forced into a decision between two dumb things, it means you don't have enough options. You need more options. And more options gives you power. It changes everything. So we get ready to lease a building, years ago. I would look at every single piece of property that was for lease or that I could find that anybody would talk to me about possibly leasing, and I would spreadsheet it all. I knew more about that rental market before I rented a building in it than any commercial real estate agent did, because I had worked every detail and every possible option, and most of the options sucked. They weren't good, but I knew they were there, and I could use them to set my tone with the 10 or 5 that were reasonable, and then begin to prioritize those and get down to the 1, 2, or 3. But if you think there's only one possible thing you can do, you're about to get burned. You're about to make a bad decision, and you've lost all the power in your negotiation because you've got no walkaway power. Well, in our business, there's only one. Oh, horse crap. That is just not true. Stop that. That all you're doing is saying to yourself, it's okay that I'm doing something stupid. There's only one way you can get. No, it's not. There may be one dominant player that's so dominant that they've got 98% of the market, but there's 2% over here. There's some little weirdo in a garage somewhere you can work with. There's something you can do. Or by God, maybe that business and that industry needs another player in it. Maybe you need to open up. If there's only one player and they're screwing everybody, maybe it's time to open up. There's a whole nother way to get at this thing. So, options. Always look for another way. You're entrepreneurs.